Caruso runs a break. Caldwell Pope goes to the wing here. James! Oh!
Trying to play at the defensive end. Got blown by back.
Oh, yes!
Hook jam!
Harden, step back. Puts up the three. Got hit. Shot's good! And one!
Back this time here, set.
Oh, Russell Westbrook!
We back. We here. I know it's been some time. People.
Way too long.
Way too long. You know, we try to get this show out as best as we can in the time that we have, but we here again. It's April 6th as we are recording this in the nighttime. We got NBA games going on right now as we speak. Eastern Standard Time is 10:04. Georgia Central is 9:04. Bucket Patrol, what's up, man? Welcome back.
Wow, I'm glad to be back, bro. You need to have me on more often. Where you been at? You been hibernating or something?
Man, you know our schedule's been conflicting with this stuff, man. You know, and it's hard, you know, just get some stuff going, you know. It's all right. We here though right now.
All right, let's do it then. I'm feeling like I need a dub in my bag for a minute. It's been a little minute since I collected one of these dubs on this thing here.
Yeah, that's
you come back for that.
If you call it a double, let's talk about somebody who took an L, but to him it's still a dub. You know, hey. I'm talking about my man, the truth. Paul Pierce, man.
Can't handle it.
And one of the most, you know, just most random things that happen on a Friday night in NBA history. Just random. Paul Pierce went live on his Instagram, and you know, he was having what a lot of men, you know, especially black men probably do, especially rich black men do on their private time or on weekends, you know, have the boys over, play some poker. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Taking some drink. You know, he's of age. He's about 43. Smoking some weed. Now he's in California. That's legal.
That's okay.
Got the strippers over at the house. They under consent. He done purchased them. They, you know, it's all good. Now, those activities is fine. To me, you know, it's fine. But it's the fact he posted on Instagram Live. Days later, that's been confirmed today, he's been fired from ESPN. Now, many people are, you know, saying that this is the main reason that this happened. Some people are speculating that Paul Pierce knew this day was coming, or, you know, something was going to happen, so that's why he did it, because Paul Pierce never did anything like this before. That's why it was so random too. This came out of left field.
So out of left field. Did you send that to me, or did I send that to you? I remember that happened, and I feel like I talked to you about it because I was so confused. I'm thinking, bro, like, is this actually like Paul Pierce? Is this like Paul Bunyan?
The truth, Paul Pierce, 34.
Paul Revere, like it can't be Pierce. It can't
Paul
be
Rudd. Happy birthday, Paul
Rudd. Happy birthday. Is his birthday today?
Happy
birthday.
It is.
Happy birthday.
But yeah, it was Paul Pierce. And you know the crazy thing is, at the time, Nelson actually called it live. He said, but at the time it was only 315 people watching it though.
315 too many.
And you know, everybody, you know, people, you know, the live story, you know, somebody gonna screen record it and post it later. Yeah. That's what happened anyway, because if 315 people just, you know, watched it and went away.
Only takes one.
So what you think about this Bucket Show? Do you think Paul deserved to be fired for this?
I don't think he deserved to be fired for it, specifically for that, because I mean, like you say, he's a grown man spending his own money with legal transactions, I'm going to assume, for all of these slight debaucherous activities. But you don't mess around with that mouse, Kendall. You don't mess around with the mouse. Yeah, all right.
Trust me, I know.
He got a brand to uphold. All right. And you can't be you can't be messing with the mouse. He's got a brand to uphold.
He's right here. He's watching me.
Exactly. Our corporate overlords don't play that game. That's bad for business. So I don't know. The thing is, in my head, I was thinking when I watched that, because I seen it while he was live, and I was so confused. Because I'm thinking,
you watched it live?
Oh yeah, I seen it because I follow Paul Pierce. And I don't know. I follow Paul Pierce, and I seen that. I was thinking, hold on, bro, wait a minute. Is this okay? Like, he's a grown man, he's cool, but I feel like this is like like it's basically like there was one day I seen a live with Blueface when he was at the club with a whole bunch of bottles and bitches. And I'm thinking, okay, Paul Pierce got blue face energy now. Is Disney okay with that? Like, does that fit the mouse's brand? And sure enough, he got fired the next day. So, but I hear what you're saying though, because I feel like he must have been on the chopping block. Because then he posted after that #freedom or something like that.
He said #smile, and he posted a video of
Uh-uh.
him, laughing with the shades on, which it could be taken two ways. It could be taken that he's actually happy that he got fired, but I assume, kind of thinking, playing both sides with him having those shades on. I'm thinking maybe this man's crying. Somebody said, we seen this man go through a mental health breakdown or life crisis. I'm like,
he fake pooping his pants to get off the basketball court.
And he did
wheeled him off a wheelchair and came back with both legs working the next day.
No, this ain't game. This ain't game. This ain't game. And Jrue,
right?
I think it was the Lakers too that he did that against. I think it was the Lakers. I think they won a championship.
The names aren't that important, honestly.
I think it was the Lakers. Yeah, but anyway,
I thought we were talking about this.
But I mean, to me, like you said,
He's
obviously of consent.
Be professional.
What? Anyways, I think, like I said, to me, he is of age. He is of consent to do this. But it's the fact that he posted it on his Instagram live, and it was late at night when it got posted. Him being on the Western Coast time, I think he maybe assumed that nobody's gonna really see it. And like I said, it was only 300 people at a time that watched it. If you see like the videos that can post out there and the screenshots. But as you stated, when you work for certain companies, me, knowing this firsthand, like you can't really publicize some of the things you do because it's a reflection of the company and the company reputation.
Right.
There was like we all remember that video of when the Clippers played the Hawks. Maybe it was last season, and Kawhi Leonard was in the strip club with the New Balance hoodie, and the stripper was dancing on him. Now we didn't say nothing to Kawhi because somebody recorded him. Kawhi wasn't on there saying "What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?" Yeah,
with the money, he didn't do all that. He got recorded. And, obviously at that point, you can't get in trouble if somebody recorded you. Like, you didn't do it. Somebody's just catching you doing stuff like that. But it's the fact that he went on his own accord to post it. I think it's where he got fired for. And, if somebody else, like one of his homeboys is there recording him, I don't think he would get fired for it. But I
don't know. It's just like, why did he go live? That's why I feel like I don't want to definitively say, like, as a grown man, he knows better than to, go live and do something like that. But I feel like you a public figure and you work for Disney. Like, it's the same people putting out Hannah Montana and Toy Story. Like, you can't be on live with weed and females and all that stuff acting a fool. Like, you gotta know better than that. So I feel like he might have already known he was out the door for something already, and he felt like, well, hey, you can't fire me, I quit. And this is him putting in his resignation letter. I don't know. That's speculation. I can't prove that, but I just feel like Paul Pierce, even though he thinks he's better than D Wade, he knows better. Actually, that's how I remember, because I remember I sent you the video. I said he might be better than D Wade after all.
Yes, that is what you said. I just one of Paul's highlight. Working for ESPN. He's been with the company for 3 years, and he said he got bigger things coming in the future. We'll have to see what that is, but
at the end of the day, that man's the truth for sure.
He is the truth, man. Hey, he is the truth, man. That was just funny to see. He said, "Show him your accent. Show your accent." Hello. All right. He was wild. He was smoking the weed. He was over. And that's why I say, he's doing attention. He had the phone up. He was going like
he's having the time of his life.
Of his life. The things your uncles and that black folks be doing on the weekend. He just publicizes, so he ain't doing nothing too crazy. It's the fact that he put it out there for the world to see. Let's talk about something else that was put out to the world to see. Finally, after being anticipated for many years, Space Jam 2, first trailer has been released, starring Lebanon on Lebanon, LeBron James,
King James.
Go. Nah, I ain't gonna call him Coach James.
Go. You said it right. Go ahead, let it out. It feel good. It feel natural.
He ain't there yet. If he wins this year, he could be GOAT in my eyes.
Cool. I'll come back. I'll come find you in July.
If he goes through the gauntlet of the Western Conference and plays the Nets in the finals and beat them fully healthy, he can be GOAT James. But anyways, so the trailer was released. You got LeBron James, Don Cheadle. Of course, you got the Looney Tunes in it. what was your thoughts? I'll let you go first on this. I know you kind of talked about it before the show, but what was your thoughts after seeing the initial trailer?
Well, I'm excited for it. I mean, for one, I'm gonna say it right now, LeBron is a way better actor than Michael Jordan. Just definitively. Like you can say he's not a better basketball player, but he's
He's
a
been in
better
more
actor.
movies at this point now.
He was, I mean, in the two scenes I seen him in Trainwreck, I already knew for a fact he a better actor than 2 hours of seeing Michael Jordan do whatever it was he was doing in Space Jam. So let's just go ahead and nip that in the butt right now. So just off the fact the star of the film is going to be a better actor will just make it levels better in my opinion. Uh Outside of that, I'm kind of confused on the direction they're going with this because it was relatively a simple plot. Okay, NBA players get their talent stolen by the Monstars. Michael Jordan and a team of Looney Tunes has to win it back in a game of 5-on-5. Okay, that makes sense. But with this one, okay, so then like some server land and Don Cheadle steals his son and he's got to go down to the Warner Brothers band of misfits crew somewhere and like all these Warner Brothers properties are all playing against each other and then you got like Pennywise
Man,
and Clockwork Orange and all these people in the crowd watching
I
them
did
play.
not recognize Pennywise in the crowd until I was watching people break down the trailer, watching Double Toasted, and he was there in the background. I'm like, bro, hold on, bro.
It's like, what is he doing out here? Like,
Man, this man's a
he's on,
murderer, bro.
he's like, who let him in? He's not canceled. Like, who let him through the door? Who sold him the tickets?
Pepe Le Pew can't be in, but Pennywise, the
Oh,
child
but
eater, is
Pennywise. So
allowed.
literally, a dude who gets a little bit too physical with the shorties can't be in. But we gonna let a man, a literal alien, whatever Pennywise is, who eats children, get front row, course side. Okay, I mean it's interesting. So I don't know what the direction
He
they're
paid
going
his
for
dues.
is. He must have paid his ticket price. He must have scalped double the price or something. He must have bought them tickets in Bitcoin and say, let him in, let him in. I don't know. But I mean, I think it'll be fine. I don't want to sit here and judge it off of this trailer. I just feel like it looks more like Warner Brothers saying, oh, you know, we own this property and we own that property. And we
How
also
you,
own that
George?
property. Exactly. Like, I don't,
Got some nice tickets.
there's some nice tickets there.
Can
Your
I
tickets
get
flow too. Your tickets flow too.
I didn't mean to go. I was thinking in my head. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going, bro.
No, that's the gist of it, bro. I just feel like I'm a little bit concerned about it because it just seems like this might turn into a marketing campaign for all the other things Warner Brothers owns instead of it being like an actual Space Jam sequel. But I'm not gonna make a judgment based off a trailer. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. And either way, I mean, it's not like this is gonna be Citizen Kane or anything like that. It's a movie
Yeah.
about a guy playing basketball with Looney Tunes. So I'm not going in there expecting some like super windy plot or some real themes and something deep. I just want to be entertained. So we'll see.
So, as me and you was talking about it before the show, compared to like, the original Space Jam, I hold dear to my heart. I watched it a lot growing up. It was very good. It was a very cool movie to see. Obviously, it's not like one of the best films of all time type, but just some nostalgia and just seeing something like that, seeing literally the greatest player of all time, GOAT Jordan, in the movie with a bunch of Looney Tunes and as a child watching it was very cool to see. And even then, the plot in that movie was simple. Like you said, Michael Jordan, he's playing basketball. He gets sucked in. He goes into a hole where he's playing golf. He finds the Looney Tunes, and they need help. To save. I think it was. I think because someone's gonna happen to them first too, though, because the Monstars came and did something to them.
It was going to take like their territory and turn it into like amusement park or something like that.
To
Yeah.
return to the music park and just use all the Looney Tunes. So that like you have like a basic plot, and the movie wasn't there for the plot. It was more so for just the characters and Michael Jordan itself. Whereas with this movie, it's based off the trailer. It seems a bit confusing, of what's going on. You have LeBron James and his movie son in there. Obviously they ain't got Bronny James in there, but they got like this young kid playing his son. And they on the elevator, and I guess the elevator gets hacked by Don Cheadle's character, and it takes him to this server room. And LeBron, gets sucked in, and he's over traveling through the Warner Brothers world, and they playing a game for I can't remember what was the reason why they played the game, to get his son back.
To get his son back. I don't know. It's not clear. It's kind of all over the place. I don't really know. I think it'll be fine because again, you're not watching a movie like this for some very deep plot and for all this stuff. Like you just throwing everything at the kitchen sink to just be entertained. So if I laugh and I have fun watching it, I could care less. But going into it, looking at the trailer, I don't really know what the direction we're going down is. Like,
And even
it's up
and
in the air for
like,
me.
because even like when you talk about the Warner Brother characters they have in the background, because in the first one, you just had, excuse me, you had the extension of like just the Looney Tunes world. So I guess as you made a good point, you don't know if it's going to be like a marketing scheme, because now what we see in this version, we just see literally all of like Warner Brothers like characters in the movie. You got King Kong, you got the Iron Giant, you got Pennywise, you got all these different type of characters in there. So what is going to come of it? But you also it was, they literally, when they were showing the players, it was kind of quick for me to catch with my eyes. So I kind of went back and saw on the internet who these players were. But you had some of the NBA players in there. You got Dame Lillard, who is the guy with the watch with the clocks on him. You got Big Bird, who's Anthony Davis. Kyrie, who I assume is the fire guy. I assume. I know the water guy has to be Klay Thompson. It has to be Splash Brother. It has
Splash
to be.
Man.
Diana Taurasi as the snake. And it seems interesting, just to see what it's gonna be. We got Zendaya's Lola Bunny, which I tweeted makes the most perfect sense to me. It makes the most perfect sense to me.
I bet it does.
Hey, bro, I'm a big fan.
I
Of
said I bet
Zendaya's
it
work.
does.
I'm a big fan of Zendaya's work.
I
Her
bet you
and
are.
Malcolm Marie was very good. I like Euphoria as well. Hey, anyways, while you over trying to judge me for my celebrity crush,
No, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, I just think the story, just based off the initial trailer, it's I wasn't too impressed. I was like, okay, I'm happy that this movie's finally coming out. But as far as like the story and everything, I was like, I need to see more. So we'll see when that comes around. Let's go ahead and head right back into reality with the NBA world. As we've been gone for about maybe like a month or so, close to a month, we missed out on talking about the trade deadline buyout season. So obviously we're not going to go over every move, because you all, if you listen to this, I assume that you are a big fan of basketball, so you would know what's happening already. But George, as the trade deadline buyout season, as we are a week and a half or 2 weeks removed, I think, from that session, what moves have impressed you the most?
Oh man, as much as I hate to say it, Brooklyn getting Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge is sadly a very good move for them, because they basically, in my opinion, got a better big for one, and they got what's his name, Claxton, who's already a better big than DeAndre Jordan, and now they got a stretch big with LaMarcus Aldridge, who he's not gonna go out there and he's not gonna really give you 25 and
Starting
10
at center
anymore.
too.
Yeah, because he can stretch the floor. And so I think you want to run a small ball lineup, or not even really a small ball lineup, but like a 5-out type of lineup. Now you can throw Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge out there and space the floor out ridiculous. So if you're running a lineup with Kyrie, James Harden, KD, Blake Griffin, and LaMarcus Aldridge, you got 5 deep threats who can create. Well, not really in terms of like going off the dribble. Like LaMarcus Aldridge is not going to take anybody off the
Joe
dribble,
Harris
especially
in
at
that
this age.
starting lineup, put KD at the 4.
Right, exactly. Like you exactly, and you could do that. Now, yeah, you could put Blake Griffin at the 5. You could put Joe Harris at the 4, KD at the 3, whatever way you want to put that, or KD at the 4, Joe Harris at the 3. But long story short, you create this dynamic offense of people who can all attack off the dribble and spread the floor, and you got them for basically nothing. So I don't have to sit here and lie to you to say that's not a hell of a move. Like, kudos, Brooklyn Lakers in 5 though. Now, including that, the Lakers getting Andre Drummond. I feel like people who think that Andre Drummond make us like the clear-cut best team in the league are delusional, because Andre Drummond, I don't even think Andre Drummond honestly is that big of a move for us, because yeah, he's a way better big than Marc Gasol at this age and this point of his career, but he's an old school big, a dinosaur basically. Like, yeah, rebounding is important, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to put him out there if they're running small with KD and Blake Griffin at the 5. Like, he's not going to be able to hang. As soon as you take him out the paint, he's going to get killed.
I will raise this, because as we saw y'all win the championship this past season with bigs like who play that similar style, like JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. When you say he's just an upgraded version of that?
No, see, I think in that capacity, he is a good fit because he brings that same energy that JaVale and Dwight did. But remember, there was a lot of times when we were closing out series with Houston and when we played the Heat in the finals where we weren't even playing JaVale and Dwight. We were playing Marcus Morris and Markieff Morris and Alex Caruso. We weren't even playing Dwight and JaVale because we wanted those high energy wing defenders who could go out there and switch everything. Andre Drummond's not switching on nothing. He's switching off from the paint to the bench. Those are the only things he's switching between. He ain't going nowhere outside of that. And that makes me concerned because I'm really looking just down the line. against Brooklyn. And that's what we need. Now, maybe against the Clippers to get out the West, that's a good pickup for us. I think he would be good against the Clippers because they
Clippers who
really
just
can't.
picked up DeMarcus Cousins as well.
And they just
They
picked up
signed him on
Marcus
10 day.
Cousins. Right. And it's on 10 day. Hopefully he does. 'Cause I love DeMarcus Cousins. I really want him to find a home and actually be able to be a
I've been
consistent
wanting him to go to
player.
Clippers for a minute too. Continue, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think for the West, it puts us in a good position. Like I like him for the most part against Jokic. I think Jokic is obviously a pretty good ball handler, so him guarding him on the perimeter might be a little tough. But he's not really a fast player, so hopefully you can hang with him. And then just against the Clippers, I think having him as an interior body to be a rim protector and snatch up rebounds, considering they can't really throw somebody like a LaMarcus Aldridge or drop somebody at the 5 like a KD or anything like that, is good. But really at this point, all roads lead to Brooklyn, and I don't think that makes us better against the Nets. So I think the Nets definitely had the best signing. For my team, it's a good signing, but it doesn't really change much. It really just comes down to LeBron and AD being the best two players in the court at all times for us to win. So we'll see. Outside of that, I think the Nuggets adding Aaron Gordon is a great move for them. I think he has that dynamics. I think that hole that Jeremy Grant leaving to go to Detroit that they lost because of that, I think he fills that hole pretty well. And there was one other move. God, there was one other move that was floating in my head. Oh, and the Clippers getting Rondo. I think that's a really big deal.
Good move.
I haven't seen much out of it yet because I didn't watch his first game that he played the other day with them. But I think
the Lakers, it didn't matter. Y'all got blown out.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even want to watch it, bro. I already knew. I didn't even want to watch it, so I didn't even. But I think for them long term, that's going to be a great move because that's exactly what they've been missing, a floor general. Because as good as Kawhi and PG are, they're not guards. So having a guy like Rondo who can go out there, especially in his playoff form, that's a good pickup for them. Lakers in 5 still though. So sorry to get y'all's hopes up.
So I'm pretty much with you on this. Just agreeing with who had the best moves. I say that in terms of trades, I think like you said, the Aaron Gordon trade to Denver was really good for them. They added more depth because now you can't put Paul Millsap on that bench now. And you hear me?
Oh no, I think it just dropped me for a second. So I missed what you said after I stopped talking.
Okay. I had to cut that out. But okay. So I was saying basically that I say I'm agreeing with you on what you say. I say Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets is probably my favorite trade that took place. Because I think him in that system, because they also have Michael Porter Jr. played the 4 a little bit. I think him in that system it works. I think it's a good fit for them. You get the athletic big who kind of stretch the floor, and we see him now play more defense. Where he was asked to be, have a major role in Orlando. Now he comes to Denver. He's the 4th scoring option on that team because you already got Jokic, you got MPJ, you got Jamal Murray. That load, and he even wanted this. He didn't want that load there anymore. And kudos to him for recognizing who he is as a player because we see players like a Jeremy Grant who wanted to lead to go to Detroit and trying to, be a star on a losing team.
Right.
We see players who kind of, get that big end and be like, I can get this, granted, go get your money, but to recognize where you fit in the team and where your talent is. Yeah, I think that's really good maturity, especially for him at a young age. So him on that team, I think is a great fit for them. And I think, there'll be a team to look out for heading to the playoffs, especially the year that Jokic is having. That man's a beast.
Oh, he's a monster.
He's something else. He really is. Also, with the signings, Brooklyn, of course, where we talk about Blake Griffin, we didn't get to talk about LaMarcus Aldridge. That was a surprise buyout to me because rumors was having he was going to Miami. And I was thinking that Drummond's going to go to Brooklyn. That's the move I really wanted. But, as we saw, they wanted Kevin Durant, who'd been recruiting LaMarcus, fellow Texas alum. So that recruiting Kevin Durant is playing a big recruiter here. And I kind of don't like how people are kind of throwing some shade at Kevin Durant for this. And for him going out and getting these players and recruiting and forging this team as if LeBron James didn't do it himself.
Like he said, he tweeted, he said, "Does this one hurt my legacy too?" or something like that.
Man, because is it? Because I don't I'm with KD. That's why I like them. That's really you talk on me all the time about me supporting them, but that's probably the reason why I like them guys. It's because they really they going against what people are saying and just kind of really just being themselves. Now, granted, how KD goes about it, as we saw with his Michael Rappaport situation, even though I don't really blame him for what he did. It's just Rappaport shouldn't have leaked it, and people could talk about the apology, but I like them for just who they are personality wise. But in terms of just going back to the buyout, I think it was good. I think the trade for Vucevic to Chicago is pretty good. I think they're looking towards the future. With the lineup they got with Kobe White, Zach LaVine, their rookie they got in what was this? It's Williams, Robert. I think what was his name?
Yeah, Patrick Williams.
Patrick Williams. I knew it was like a name I heard before. Actually, I know Patrick Williams from Mill. And they got Laurie Marketing, who's starting to play better, and Vucevic. I think that's a good 5 going forward. I think Chicago is trying to make a push to be a more competitive team, as we saw they send in a playing tournament on the East right now, especially with the season Zach LaVine is having and Vucevic. So pairing the two, I think was a good move. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Rondo too. And it's funny because, the Clippers were trying to get Rondo in the offseason, but, he wanted his money and they had to get rid of Lou Will just to get him back. So smart move on Rondo right there.
They were trying to get off Lou Will anyway because of all the problems he had with Paul George and Kawhi with him and Montrez anyway. So I think it's a perfect move for them. Like, they get rid of Lou Will. I don't know if there was still that same ill will.
I don't think there was many problems between them. I know Trez had problems with PG.
I know they had mentioned some stuff. There was Trez. It wasn't as much Lou Will, but it was rumblings that Lou Will was also somebody they had issues with, and they were trying to come off his contract. The problem was that Lou Will, being such an undervalued player, making $8 million a year, it was hard for them to have, that 1-to-1 trade for somebody making that little money who's going to give them the same level of production. So that's why he was so hard to move off of.
And he said he was thinking about retiring after he got traded too. So who's know? We might see him retire soon after he finishes his contract, because now he went from playing a championship contender team to, even though they're fourth in the East, the Hawks ain't really gonna do nothing.
He's closing back to them lemon peppers.
That's why I said exactly what I tweeted. I said now he can get those lemon pepper wings every day now.
Every day now.
And
they don't care about no type of COVID, nothing in Georgia. So he good to go.
Hell no, he don't care. So he can go ahead and visit Magic City anytime, get those wings. But let's talk about, as you talk about Lou Will's contract, let's talk about somebody who got a big payday. Jrue Holiday got a 4-year, $130 million extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, Jrue Holiday getting a 4-year, $130 million extension. I thought he was older than what he is, because Jrue Holiday, they did play together though. Jrue Holiday been in the league for some time, but he came in 2009 though. That gets goes to show you. Only been 11 years. He's only 30 years old now too. So they got him while he's in his prime. He's playing very well for the Bucks too. And we've seen over the past couple years he's become a better defender, a good playmaker on the team. Probably one of the most, as many players say, underrated players in the league. But with this move, the Bucks, they lock up their 3 main players on the team. You got Giannis, who just signed a super max deal in the offseason. Chris Middleton, who got his max the season prior. And you got, Jrue Holiday. These are literally their 3 best players. But is this good enough to win a championship?
Not with a Brooklyn team that's literally got nukes on top of nukes stacked up. I think if there were a world where it was just Kyrie, James Harden, and KD, and they hadn't added all these other pieces, that maybe they could. And that's just honestly, that's the worst part of all this super team stuff. Like, say what you want about super teams, and even though the Lakers can be considered one, I don't think so. We got 2 good players, a whole bunch of role players.
I got 2 of the top 5 players though,
and then a whole bunch of role players though. Like, you looking at Brooklyn, they got 3 of the best top 10 players, give or take, top 10, top 12, depending on where you put Kyrie. And then they got LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, who may not be prime. I acknowledge that. But, easily they're going to give you 15 points if you give them enough shots to do that efficiently. And then you got Spencer Dinwiddie, who's injured, but still was an all-star at one point, or all-star candidate at one point. So if he comes back from injury, that's 6 players who are quality all-star, fringe all-star level players on the same team. You just can't really compete with that. So with the Bucks, I just feel like, Jrue Holiday's a great pickup, and he fixes a lot of the issues they had with another playmaker who could facilitate and play some defense, be an all-around 3-and-D kind of player, but also facilitate and play good basketball within the system. And Giannis is obviously Giannis, and Chris Middleton is one of the more underrated players in the league. But what does that mean when you got to play KD, James Harden, Kyrie, and then a whole bunch of solid role players every day? So I think in a world where Brooklyn wasn't stacked, maybe, but in this universe where they are, it doesn't really matter. They might get 1 or 2 games. If the Brooklyn Nets are injured, maybe they might get them. But a healthy Brooklyn, I just don't even see it being worth it. Like, the only team I see in the East even giving them any type of reason to worry is the 76ers. And even that's a stretch, just because they don't have a big to guard Joel.
Good points that you made there. I would say for me, I don't think it is enough. But, the Bucks have been playing better. Where they've been on this, roller coaster ride of a season, especially, because Jrue Holiday was gone for a good part, out of COVID protocol. You know, when he's gotten back and he's gotten to the form that he is now, I think they, you know, they play better. I think a big critique on their coach on Budenholzer is, you know, when it comes to playoffs, because we saw Giannis, you know, in the Bucks, you know, he's 2-time MVP back to back, and they had a 60-win season, but we get to the playoffs, you know, they disappoint. And you know, with this year, what they've been doing is testing different things. Where Budenholzer has been known, like I said, critique against him, that he don't really change nothing up, and he's been changing stuff up in the season. And I've seen them in games outshoot a lot of teams. I've seen them. Like when I watch them, you know, they will outshoot a lot of teams. And you know, like you said, having Jrue Holiday there to be that playmaker, because you know, Bledsoe, even though he was a good guard, he wasn't really that playmaker that Giannis need to take a load off him. It makes things better. But is it enough to go against a team like you said against Brooklyn, who have all those players? No, it's not enough. And I've said it. I don't know if I said it on the record here, but I said Chris Middleton. No disrespect to him, he's having a great year, very efficient. Like you say, he's one of the most underrated players in the league. But I don't think in a championship team, I don't think he's your second best player. He's more to me like a third best player on a championship team. I think that's how I see him. He's more of a third player, right, not a second player. And if he's your second, you have Jrue Holiday, who is a great player. These are great players. You know, that in terms of if you're trying to get to a championship, I'm not too sure, but that puts a lot of onus on Giannis at that point, because Giannis is so great, and he's the main reason why these guys are here, and he's the reason why this team is even where they are right now. So it means him, he got to uplift his game more. You know, I saw, you know, he's becoming a slightly better free throw shooter, and you know, his 3-pointer, which has been a big hit on his game, you know, he's shoddy with that. So and he's still young too. He's still a young guy himself. So I think for them to get to the championship level, it just has to depend on him and his greatness. So that's my thoughts on it. But while we're talking about guys who's competing for championship, let's talk about guys who's kind of, you know, falling off from the Mount Olympus. The Warrior Boys, Golden State. Hey, let's bow our heads for Warriors fans everywhere, Zay Davis included.
Bandwagon.
Alrighty. We have our moment of silence for the Warriors fans, because it's not looking too good for you all. While they still in playing contention, you know, Steph Curry, you know, is facing injury, especially, you know, with his tailbone. And they just been, I don't know. They lost to the Raptors, who not even in the playoffs. I think they 11th seed in the East right now, maybe even 10th. So on that play-in bubble, by 53 points. Let me say this again to you.
Down by as much as 61 at one point. It was ugly.
The Golden State Warriors lost to the Toronto Raptors in 2021, y'all, by 53 points. Now, this was without Draymond Green and Steph Curry. But, you know, you have a guy like James Wiseman, who, me included, thought was going to be a good, you know, addition to that team, a good draft pick that they picked up. And he's not himself. He is not having the best season. You know, there was even a point in time where he even got benched for a little bit, you know, come off the bench. And, you know, the players was talking in the media, because, you know, the media, you know, we're going to talk about stuff like that. They was like saying it was a teaching lesson for him. But, you know, his confidence isn't there. You know, for the season, he's averaging only 11.4 points and about close to 6 rebounds. For a rookie, you know, on his team, especially when you have in a lot of games where your best players are out and you are basically supposed to be that best player, not impressive. The last 7 games, he was averaging close to 10 points, about 5 rebounds, and close to 1 block. And in those last 7 games, the Warriors only won 1 game. Now, Wiggins, who has been a constant on that team, you know, I know you feel some way about him. Obviously, as the best player on the team, you're not really doing nothing. But I feel like
nothing.
You're not doing nothing. But I feel like, because, you know, Klay Thompson was supposed to come this season. You know, the line with that lineup, you know, Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, Wiseman, that's a good lineup. You know, it sounds good. But the way they're playing now, which I credit to like their depth. I really think what made the Warriors so good during those 5 years and the years before was their depth. And I don't think they really have as much depth now. I mean, when Klay comes back, you go and put Oubre on the bench, or to possibly get rid of him because he's not doing too. He's shoddy with them too. You got Paschal, who plays good in the minutes, I think. But your backup guards, you got Louisville alum, Damian Lee, shout out to him. You got who else they got? I can't. They still got Jordan Poole. Is he in the G League or something? They pull
I
him
think
now.
I think he got him. I think they
Mold,
got
Brad
K
Wanamaker. They
Brad
got him.
Wanamaker. They still have K. Was it K Fielding
Kevon
they
Looney.
had? Or not
Okay,
K
Fielding.
Von? Yeah. Did they have him?
I
I don't
don't
know.
think so.
They got like Rose
Nico
Gallery that just
Mannion.
ran it. Yeah,
They got
Nico.
Kevon Looney who plays good, but I'm hoping maybe in this offseason that they get some guys to come to them and lure them in and possibly go on this run again. Because as a basketball fan, I like to see teams get good. It's better when competition all around is good. So I'm hoping that happens. But what's your outlook on the Warriors and what's going on with them recently and where
It's
the
the same.
future might go?
It's the same outlook I always had because I said before the season started they wouldn't even make the playing tournament. They were honestly doing better than I thought they would be doing because I just look at that roster and I see a really good player, MVP level player in Steph. I see a guy like Draymond Green who within a system can be a all-star level caliber kind of guy, and I see a whole bunch of role players who can only really get in where they fit in. And if they're not fitting into a system that's winning, they're just going to be a below average cast of misfits. And I think it's really just exposing itself now because you watch that game they had against the Hawks. I mean, Steph Curry is just getting double teamed. The entire court is shading him. He kicks to Draymond, he kicks to Kelly, he kicks to Andrew Wiggins, and they're not even shooting the ball sometimes because they don't even have enough confidence to even let it go now. And I just feel like that is just not a good team. That's just not a good team. You lose by 50 something points to a team that's not even in the playoff picture, really, in the Eastern Conference. That doesn't really look good on your resume. So personally, I didn't have them making the play-in tournament, and this just confirms the thing I already believed. So I mean, I'm hoping that they get Klay Thompson back next year, and that helps them become back into that top 4 seed. But even still, I look at them with Klay Thompson, and with that same roster they have, they're missing another playmaker. Like Draymond is a playmaker within a system, but he's not going to bring the ball down, make a move, and then find somebody and make his teammates create. He's not going to create for his teammates in the way that a Steph Curry could. And you need that secondary ball hand. Like even before KD got there, they had Sean Livingston, who offered a lot of that off the bench. They had Andre Iguodala, who offered a lot of that. They don't have another guy who does that right now. And so until they get a second guy, I just don't really see this team being any better than the 6 to 5 seed, even with Klay back next year.
And with Wiseman too, it's not like I'm not gonna lose all hope in him just off this, this kind of a slump of a season. Because watching him, I've seen flashes. Like I've seen him take it coast to coast and move through transition like a smooth big. Like I remember people talking about it was like Giannis, like when he did a transition play like that. So I see hope in the guy. Like I don't necessarily think that he's down and out, but you would expect to see more from him this season, especially he is kind of a big piece for them going forward, especially if they want to get back to championship contention. Because if you look at it, with that, potential starting five, he is theoretically that third best player on that team. What did you say? If with him, Steph, Klay,
No,
Wiggins,
I agree with that. Yeah,
he's supposed to be the third. So you will hope that he just gets better at that, and going forward, that he
I
can
mean, he's
step his
young
game
though.
up.
He's young
He
though.
is
Like, he
young.
ain't figured it out
He
yet.
is young, and he didn't play that many college games either. So that is a big point. So that's why I say I'm not losing too much hope on the guy. I just hope that the Warriors as a whole just get it together because this haven't, it's ain't nothing like seeing Steph Curry and Klay Thompson getting hot. Ain't nothing like it.
Oh,
Ain't nothing like it in the NBA.
no.
Because
The NBA is more fun when the Warriors are good.
it is when you have those major market teams like that. It's fun. So as you talk about the Warriors and where they lay in playoff contention, let's just talk about what the playoffs are shaping up to be altogether. So let's go. I got just a few questions. We ain't got to spend too much time on it, but just kind of dive on a little bit and just give your thoughts. And as the playoffs are shaping up, who has impressed you so far? I'll let you go first.
Big fan of the Phoenix Suns. I said it before the season started that I think Chris Paul is just one of those guys that you just put him in a system and they just become better. And to me, the Suns always had the pieces to be good. Devin Booker is one of the best upcoming guards. DeAndre Ayton, overshadowed by Trae Young and Luka Doncic, but a great player from that 2018 draft class who's been putting up consistently
Number one
double
pick that
doubles,
year.
20 points, 10 rebounds. Yeah, exactly. Number one pick that year. And he's been getting completely overshadowed by Trae Young and Luka Doncic for good reason, but he's still a good talent. Then you got a bunch of pieces there who I feel like come together to make a great team. You just needed that guard who
Right.
could really lead the offense and the defense and then put them in a situation where they could maximize the pieces that they had. And I seen what he did with the Thunder. And I knew if he goes to Phoenix, he could do that with even better outputs. And sure enough, they're the 2 seed coming into like the back 25% of the season. So I can't just say anything but sing his praises. Like Chris Paul, people were talking about him. Why did he become an all-star? Like, have y'all watched any of the games? It's not about the numbers. It's about the impact that he makes on that court. And there's not another player this side of LeBron James and maybe Steph. And it's even that's hard to say right now because the Warriors aren't looking that hot. That I feel like has more impact on winning for a team. So definitely the Suns. Also the 76ers. I'm actually really surprised at how good they are. And obviously the 76ers have been good in the past. So I'm not going to sit here and say like 76ers have been outside the playoffs all this time and they finally got good this year. But just with Joel Embiid and then the addition of all these shooters on the side, Tobias Harris has been playing great. Seth Curry's been playing great. A whole bunch of these players have been playing phenomenal. And Doc Rivers, as much hate as he was getting, a lot of hate of which I gave to him in Los Angeles, he's proven himself to be a great coach with a great player who can make really good players into a really great offense and defense.
He instills a lot of
I
that
hate on Ben
confidence.
Simmons. Oh yeah, and I hate on Ben Simmons, and he's not been offensively what I would have wanted him to be. I feel like he took a major slide down that way, and I'm always going to be mad at him for not being able to shoot the damn ball as a person who makes millions of dollars in the NBA to do one thing. But he's the best defender in the league. Basically, he's at least like runner up to defensive player of the year this year in my mind.
He's my pick.
So he's my pick, but I don't know. They might go with Rudy Gobert. They could go with
Yeah.
Giannis. They could go with some of those people. I don't know. They usually go. They go with the team with the best with the best defensive efficiency rating. I think the Jazz have that, and that's how he's won the other two. So I mean, they might give it to him. I don't know. It's just easier to give it to a big man than it is a guard, even though you can make the argument Ben Simmons really is just a big that can dribble. But definitely 76ers, Suns and 76ers for me.
I'll agree with you on the Suns. Suns is definitely impressed me the most. I know me and you when we talk about like just preseason rankings, the Suns wasn't really. I didn't really have that much of high hopes. I didn't really pick them to be a number 2 seed. I think you picked them maybe to be like a 4th or 6th seed. But
I
number
said
2 seed,
four.
yeah, you
I'm
said 4.
surprised. They did better than me, and I was already high on them.
Yeah, so they doing it too. And Chris Paul has had a major impact on the team. Devin Booker too, who's impressing and still proving the doubt is wrong because Devin Booker don't get that type of love. But he's in the Western Conference too. And it's a lot of guards out there, or at least with James Harden being gone, that kind of opens up for him to be maybe the best 2 guard in the West. But that team as a whole, like you said, the players they have, a lot of young guys. Mikal Bridges, the addition of Jay Crowder, they got Frank Kaminsky, they got Dario Saric, they got Cam Johnson, they got these guys, and Monty Williams as a coach who's coaching them very well. It's good to see that. Growing up, I was a Phoenix Suns fan. Steve Nash was my favorite player. So it's good to see this. I also say the Jazz have impressed me this year because, as we saw them in the first round last season or the playoffs going against the Nuggets, they got eliminated, but they put on a good show, especially Donovan Mitchell. But a lot of the reason why we saw they lost was because Donovan didn't have enough help when it comes to those moments. But seeing him this year, Mike Conley has gotten better. He adjusted to the system, so he's playing really good. Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench, 6 man of the year candidate. He's playing very well. Donovan Mitchell, he still do Donovan Mitchell stuff, but now that these other players are being elevated and they shooting the lights out of everybody, it's made them better as a team, and it's good to see. And they have impressed me the most because I didn't see this coming from them. I really didn't. Seeing them be number 1 like this and go on these streets that they have, it's impressive. Now let's go to who has disappointed you while we talk about who's impressed you. I say the Pelicans have disappointed me the most because you got guys, you got Zion, you got buyout, who was an all-star last year, and Zion was an all-star this year. And you got Lonzo Ball, who they talked about trading, but they ended up not trading. I'm glad they actually didn't. I think you keep Lonzo with those 2 guys. I think that's a good fit of the trio. And they signed Steven Adams, which I thought was a great move. I like that addition of having Steven Adams down there with Zion. That's a formidable front court with BI. That's a good front court. I like that actually. But having Bledsoe start with Lonzo, I don't like that kind of. Even though Lonzo he shot 8 threes. He made 8 threes the other day. He's become a better shooter nowadays. But did 2 in the backcourt. While they are good in defensive end offensively, I'm not feeling it because as I've stated, and it's starting to me talk about a little bit more. I told you this. I put this on record. I said Stan Van Gundy's not the coach for them. I said that. I still wholeheartedly believe it. Like while Zion is playing more of the point now, you would see Zion bring down the ball. Brandon Ingram sometimes gets lost in offense, and we even saw last season Riyad was that guy for them. So I don't know. I just watching them play, it just doesn't, seem. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like they should be better than what they are. Like I really do. I really feel like they should be better with the guys they have. And they have plenty of young guys on that team too. I feel like they should be better than what they are. That's why I feel like with Stan Van Gundy, he wasn't a coach for them. Maybe if the Celtics don't really pan out, maybe Brad Stevens, I think that'd be a good fit for him in New Orleans.
I think it'd be a great fit for him.
If they ever decide to get rid of Stan Van Gundy, that's a great fit. I think that's where he should go because I don't think Stan Van Gundy is the coach for them. I don't think, what he's trying to teach them guys, I don't think it's getting through. I don't think he's playing them right very much. But who has disappointed you?
Well, I think the Pelicans definitely an honorable mention for me. The only reason that they didn't make my list is because I didn't really think that highly of them. I had them as like one of the play-in teams going into the season anyway, just because I looked at a lot of their signings and I wasn't that high. Like to me, why are you signing Eric Bledsoe when you have Lonzo? Why are you getting Steven Adams when you have Zion? I just feel like I don't want these players together. They just didn't mesh with me.
Well, they traded for Eric Bledsoe for Jrue Holiday. That came in the trade.
I just didn't like that move. Like I felt like there were so many other players you could have got that would have been better. Like Dante DiVincenzo would have been a great player for them to have gotten in that move. In my opinion, I think he would have been great for this team. But in my opinion, I didn't really think that highly of them. I didn't think they'd be this bad, but I didn't think they were going to be that good either. For me, it was a tie between the Celtics and the Mavericks, just because they both kind of fit in the same model of really good young teams with good coaches that were expected to be a lot better this season that ended up not meeting their potential. And not because of, I guess for the Mavericks, there was some COVID issues in the beginning. Then Porzingis was injured and he hasn't really played all that well yet. But Luka Doncic
hurt his wrist.
Yeah, just hurt his wrist. So he's a glass cannon. He's got a lot of potential, but every time he goes out there and does it, he breaks something, hurts something, or kicks out the game. So I just don't think that the Mavericks have been able to hit their potential, partially because of that, but just generally because their defense is trash and there's not a lot of people on that team who are really creating. So Luka Doncic is going out there taking these really difficult shots all the time. And people talk about James Harden's step back, but Luka Doncic's step back is equally nasty.
I'm on
equally nasty.
I'm gonna kind of disagree with you on that. I think they do. I think with Trey Burke and Jalen Brunson coming off the bench, I think they do got some good creators. And I think, like you pointed out, they did have some COVID problems. But I think because where they was at the beginning of the season, they was abysmal. Like I was like, I was really disappointed. I was like, damn.
Oh, they were terrible.
They were terrible. For them to be a 7th seed in the West and continue to go up and continue to win games, I think I would say I think they are where they should be, or they should be up a little bit more, maybe. Coming to, I think I'll probably have maybe like a 5 seed, maybe.
They're making a push, but coming into the season, everybody had them 2, 3, maybe some people even had them 1.
For them to be MVP odds, he had the most favorite.
He was my preseason pick. So I'm just disappointed in them just because I expected them to be better. Same thing with the Celtics. I came in this season, I can't remember exactly what my prediction was, but I think I had Celtics top 3. I felt like Jason Tatum was supposed to be in that top 5 pantheon of East players, and he has been playing like it. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. I thought Kemba was going to be better. I have a ton of respect for Brad Stevens because I watched what he did with those Butler teams. What we did with the Isaiah Thomas Celtics, and generally when Kyrie was healthy, what he was doing with those Celtics teams, and I just haven't seen it come together. And I just don't like when teams who have a lot of talent just squander it, especially when they play well. So the Pelicans were kind of in that same niche, like that same market. They fit that same group to me. I just expected less from the Pelicans than I did from the Celtics and the Mavs. So that's why I picked those 2.
With the Celtics, I agree with you on that. I can see what you're saying with the Celtics. They are kind of disappointing. So they are trying to fight their way. And with Brad Stevens, as we talked before the show, I think maybe the team, because watching them play, I just think it look like it's too many chefs in the kitchen. You got Jaylen Brown who's become a better, offensive scorer on his own, and you got Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker who's already doing that. So I think distributing the ball more can kind of help that team because they got the pieces, but it's just I don't know. The system they have right now is not working for them. But on to the next question: current standings. what is your favorite matchup? As you look at, what's going on, like I said today, April 6th, 1 through 10. Well, it's 1 through 8 because we're not really counting the playing games. 1 through 8, what's your favorite matchup?
I think I definitely like the Celtics versus the 76ers. I think just because it's that Eastern Conference rivalry, and then you have a team like the Celtics, who in my opinion are
They're playing
way
right now, actually. They played
yeah.
early.
Oh, they're playing. Oh, they are playing right now. I just think the Celtics are much better than they are record-wise, which means that'll be a very competitive series. Then you've got bad blood between those teams. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid don't really like the Celtics. They've played multiple times last year. Last year they played with Ben Simmons injured and they got swept. So I know Joel Embiid's going to come in there with a chip on his shoulder. He's playing his best basketball. Then I just generally believe that the Celtics are going to figure it out and get better and make that a really competitive series. I could see going 6 or 7 if they do play each other in that first round. So I just think that would be a good matchup just because it would be fun to watch on a competitive level and on a rivalry level.
So as it stands right now, you'll see why I say that on the next question. But as it stands right now, I think Nuggets and Lakers are my favorite. Talking about what we talked about with the Lakers, the Nuggets, I mean, with their trade they did with Aaron Gordon and just how that team has been with Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr., doing his thing, versus the Lakers, coming back, which we assume they'll be fully healthy come first round. I think it'll be a very fun first round matchup. It's, I mean, you can say the Lakers are going to go, and it's, I don't know though, because we seen the Nuggets, impress us last season, and though the Lakers was want to take them down the Western Conference Finals, you get that matchup in the first round. I think it'll be very exciting to see those two teams go against each other in the playoffs. So that's my favorite matchup between the two. Seeing LeBron James and AD take on Jokic and Jamal Murray. I mean,
that ain't gonna be my favorite. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them first round. We need
you
somebody
don't,
easy.
you don't want to see the Nuggets?
Nah, not particularly. Nah.
Why?
Nah. We got some damaged goods. We got damaged goods right now, and they doing the thing. I prefer not to see them yet. I'd rather see them than the Clippers, though. Like, I really don't want to get stuck with the Clippers first round.
Oh yeah,
that is my worst fear. I wake up in cold sweat seeing them boys on the other side of the bracket in first round.
Ooh, can you imagine at the battle for LA first round? Come on, that's too good NBA. Come on now, you can't.
Good. Y'all can't be doing that up front. Y'all gotta say the best for last.
You can't be teasing me like that, baby. Come on now. You gotta let me wait something. Come on now. All right. Anyways, bold prediction heading to the playoffs. As I said, with the last question, current standings wise, was my favorite matchup. But my bold prediction as we enter the playoffs, as we're about to close out the season, as playoffs start in mid-May, I say the Lakers will fall to the 7th seed and face the Suns in the first round. Hey, sorry, Phoenix. Y'all having a good run, but it ain't gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be enough. They could surprise if they. Hey, Bucket Patrol. If y'all losing the first round, we coming on here. We coming on.
I'm not coming on.
We coming on here.
You coming on. I ain't coming on here, but I ain't worried about it because we're not gonna lose. At the end of the day, it'd be bad news for Phoenix to see us first round.
It would
you have such a great season just to go out in 5. That's tough. I want y'all to at least get to the second round. But hey, look, I ain't worried about that. I think it's very possible. AD is supposed to come back, I think, in the next 1 or 2 weeks. LeBron, I'm not really sure exactly what the ETA on that. Last time I heard it was something like 2 to 3 weeks potentially before they reevaluate and see where he stands. 4. So it's going to take a while for that. And I'm not really in a rush for it because to me, if one thing we learned about LeBron is that seeding is not important. Just let him come into the playoffs healthy and he's going to be whoever gets in front of him. So I ain't overly concerned about it. But I would prefer to be up in that home court standing. Obviously, I would like to have home court throughout the playoffs. I definitely don't want to see the Nuggets or any of these other teams. We got to go to Denver or we got to go to Utah. I don't want that. I don't think that would make it any easier for us. So I'm hoping it don't happen, but I'm not going to lose any sleep about it if we coming in as a 6-7 seed. As long as we don't have to play the Clippers in the first round, we cool. But for me, my bold prediction, Warriors missed the play-in tournament. It's the same bold prediction I had in July. It's the same bold prediction I have now. And I'm sticking to my guns. And I think I put money on the table already with you and Zay. I'm not 100% sure if I did. I know I did with Zay.
Not with me. I
know I did with Zay.
I bet against you against the field. Lakers win the championship. And I got
so whack. It's so whack. You get 29 teams and
injuries. You did the bet.
No, because you were scared. You didn't want to take Brooklyn. So I had to give you the field.
You did the bet. You did
because you was afraid to take Brooklyn. Even with KD and Kyrie, you were still afraid to take them. So I had to give you the field just so you would stop trembling and shake my hand. So at the end of the day, I ain't mad about it because Lakers in 5. And that's a lifestyle. It's an ideology. It is a philosophy. I'm going to have it tatted on my wrist. But, hey, Warriors don't make the playoffs. I would say Lakers win in 5 against the Nets in the finals, but that ain't bold. That's facts.
Laker propaganda being spewed here on Trey Ball once again.
Is it propaganda if it's true?
It ain't true if it ain't even happened yet, player. So, ESPN released the best 25 under 25 list based on future potential. You want to go? I know you had the list in front of you. You all can check the list. You all can check the list online. I ain't gonna go through it all for y'all. But the shocking part where a lot of people talk about, we see Stephen A. talk about it on sports on a First Take this morning, and he's looking at it myself. You got LaMelo Ball. Well, let's go. Number 1, you got Luka. Okay,
fair. Can't argue that.
Zion at number 2. Okay,
can't argue that.
LaMelo Ball at number 3. That's where people are having the raise your eyebrow moment.
This is based on future potential. So with that caveat, that needs to be in bold, underlined, asterisks, hyphens, like everything, all the things that you can use to emphasize that last 3 words right there is important. Because today, hell no. Hell no. Boy, are you out of your mind? Come on now, stop it. But future-wise, I think it might be a little premature to put LaMelo at number 3 over Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum. But he has Charlotte, the 4th seed in the East. Not to say the East, the most competitive conference in the world, but as a guy who wasn't even starting the first quarter of the season, to have a team like Charlotte at the 4th seed playing some really good basketball, putting up 21-6-6, I believe, before he got injured. Future value-wise, I could see that. I wouldn't have done it, but I see your argument, and I'll allow it. Now, what you're not going to do is put Devin Booker and Ben Simmons below De'Aaron Fox. I'm sorry.
That was a shocker to me, too. Even though De'Aaron Fox having a good year this year.
He hasn't even been an all-star.
He was a snub. We had him as a snub this year. Yeah. Versus 2 guys who actually are all-stars.
What? He's not even better than them now.
I will agree with you on that, yeah.
So he's not even better than Bam. Honestly, is he better than B.I.? I don't even know if he's better than B.I.
I don't think he's better than B.I. either. No.
Is he better than Jaylen Brown?
Nah. Future potential-wise? Nah. Not the way Jaylen Brown playing this year.
And they got
Trae Young.
Gang.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was another shocker to me. They have Trae Young at 16. As if Trae Young.
99.
That was last season's number.
27-9. My bad. 27-9. My apologies for not getting it right till the year. Sorry.
Exactly. So, Trae Young, who we know was traded for Luka, for the swap that Mavericks and Atlanta did, who many have called the second coming of Steph Curry, who's coming in his first 3 seasons putting up, as you pointed out, ridiculous numbers. I don't know how he falls always 16. I guess maybe because of his size and lack of defense, but you have plenty of great players who, like AI and other guys who, wasn't as strong defensively, who was able to put up good numbers. And these guys are great. So to put him down there all the way at 16.
Like they got him below Shea, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr.
MPJ, I don't know. That guy's a bad man.
He's a bad man potentially, but what has he done now? He ain't done nothing right now. Trae Young has been an all-star starter. Trae Young is the best player on the team that has home court advantage in the East right now. Trae Young has been an all-star. Trae Young is putting up 27 and 9 because he should have been an all-star twice. I had to say it twice because he got snubbed this year. How do you go? See, that's a whole different argument. I like Trae Young, so I don't like when Trae Young gets snubbed. I just don't. I don't enjoy that because it just don't make sense to me. Right. And I mean, there's some other things on this list too that I'm looking at that I'm not really a big fan of. Like they got Tyrese Halliburton down at 21. In my opinion, I like Tyrese Halliburton. Honestly, I would put him a little higher. I would put him up there for one, Trey should be higher than 16. But I would put Tyrese Halliburton above that. Like I think he has more potential than Anthony. Anthony Edwards played well, so I don't know about Anthony Edwards.
Edwards
Anthony
playing
Edwards should
really
be
good now.
he playing real good.
He is. Even though, his heart for the game is kind of questionable for me because he stated that he doesn't really care about basketball that much, but he's playing very well.
I mean, but we just judging off of talent. So I mean, he's a talented player.
Mhm.
Most of my problems really is like this top 15. You get to a point where a lot of these players they're very young or they haven't done a whole bunch to really show the
I'm looking
value.
at that. I got Michael Bridges above Demontis Sabonis, who was a 2-time
Like,
All-Star. Sabonis about to turn 25 too, so that's really wild that they got Michael Bridges is a wing defender on the Phoenix Suns right now. Granted, they are the number 2 seed, but you got Sabonis, who is the best player on his team.
22, 12, and 5 this year. Like, are we crazy? Did nobody look at the stat sheet when they looked at? Did they just pick by name? Did they just look at names and start picking people?
It can't be because if Sabonis is a bigger name than Michael Bridges.
Come on, man. Like, I talked a lot about this. I had a lot to say about this list. So you can go, God, like Stephen A said, I hope they lock down the campus and start drug testing people, like piss on the spot, gun at head, pee in this cup.
Oh God, not in this era with a bunch of these school shootings going on.
It's mandatory. But I said a lot on this. I want you to go ahead and speak and tell me what you think about this one, Kendall.
So, as you see, I was kind of bouncing off of you, what you said about this list. It's a bonus being down there. It's kind of shocking to me. As I pointed out, Trey Young being down there low is really shocking to me too. For LaMelo, though, I didn't get to speak too much on that one. In terms of like future potential, if you're going based on what he did this year and his height and his size and what he's already been doing, compared to, what his criticism was coming into the draft and how he's already been improving on that coming into this season, he does have a very high ceiling. He does. And, you see him being 6'6", he could possibly still grow.
19, he got time.
He got time. He could possibly still grow. And the way he's, like you said, he led the Charlotte Hornets with Gordon Hayward, who played a big part in that team as well, even though he's out, right? He is out for 4 weeks now. So expect him to slide out the playoffs maybe. He played a big part in that team getting to where they are right now. So I wouldn't put him above. Based on future potential, I guess you can't because Devin Booker was in the West and he couldn't get his team to the playoffs
off of future
now.
potential. Like that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I feel like for LaMelo, it's
potential,
okay because of those last 3. Not in today, but I think because of his height, because of what he showed in his rookie year, with a lot of progression that he could do, he still could grow, he could still get better. I'm okay with it. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm okay with it.
And but would you put him above Donovan though? Because Donovan, his rookie year, he came in and took his team to the playoffs.
I feel like LaMelo could potentially be a better ceiling raiser for a team. I think Donovan has showed that he's like a great floor raiser in terms of like taking a team. Because that Utah team, when they lost Gordon Hayward and added him, nobody was even expecting them to make the playoffs. They ended up beating Russell Westbrook's Thunder in the first round. So that is
Point it out.
It was important. I thought you'd appreciate it. But I think that as a ceiling raiser, like his peak is higher than where Donovan's is. I don't want to say because Donovan Mitchell, one of my favorite players in the NBA, and I just love his game. I love the way he comes into the game, and generally, I just like players who get overlooked a lot because Donovan Mitchell gets overlooked a lot. I feel like this year now the Jazz are the top seed, the people are talking about him more, but he's been doing this for years. The only difference now is the record is better. That is the only difference. So I like Donovan Mitchell, but I feel like LaMelo, if we talk peak versus peak, potentially LaMelo would be better, honestly. So
okay.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too.
I'm surprised they put Donovan over Jason Tatum, actually. Like I would put him there, but I feel like they would put Jason Tatum over Donovan.
I think maybe because of this season too. I think maybe that's why I look at him that way. Because there isn't, if you watched him, there's not too much improvement in Jason Tatum's game. Like, yeah, he's a better scorer, but as I mentioned earlier, like, what about getting the other guys involved? Can you become a better playmaker in that sense? And his defense hasn't been there as much this year as well too. So maybe if they took this year into perspective, because maybe that's why the Aaron Fox is so high too, just because based off this year alone. So
what has he done this year?
He's put up good numbers.
He's putting up 22 and 7. I can give you multiple guys on this list is doing that or better that are below him right now. Trae Young. BI's putting up what 25, 4 and 4 right now. Devin Booker's putting up like what 25.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown's putting up 27, 7 and 4. Sabonis putting up 22, 12 and 5.
All right. You proved the point.
The Kings aren't even in. Are the Kings even in the play-in right now?
Pull it up. I know you.
I'm looking it up because I'm upset about that. Like, when did people start getting high off of he wasn't even considered a snub for the 12 seed. What?
Okay, is it all
games under 500?
Is that all on De'Aaron Fox though? You know the Kings have been a good organization for many years now.
So De'Aaron really putting them on his back like that. Like, we put De'Aaron on the Hawks. The Hawks is gonna be the best team in the East. If we put De'Aaron Fox on the Pelicans, they're gonna be the number 1 seed in the West.
No, God, no, God,
okay,
no.
Okay, then. Like, I like De'Aaron. He's a UK guy. He's our class. He's literally our class. He's a freshman.
Hey, man, Bam.
He was a freshman. Yeah, him and Bam. But come on now. You tell me right now, gun to your head, in a fantasy draft, you put all the GMs in the league together, and you have to draft out of this pool of players, 20 players under 25. You tell me right now, De'Aaron Fox is going number 6, and I promise you, gun to your head, lie detector on your wrist, you lie, you die.
On your heart. Put it on your heart, your brain, strap it to the whole body.
Strap to your whole body right now. De'Aaron Fox going 6 or higher.
And Graham
Hell no! Hell no! Hell no!
Swipe the Fox. Hey, we're gonna quit talking bad about the guy, man.
I like De'Aaron Fox. I hate that ESPN makes me do this. They made me do this because I couldn't come on here and talk about it and not mention the blasphemy that was put on this screen today. I'm gonna let it go. I'm done.
Nah, we just gonna end it on that note, bro. Hey,
I love you, De'Aaron. I really do. Like, I don't know if you'll ever see this, but if you do, trust and believe you're a great player. But
shout out to your engagement, man. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox engagement too.
Man, shout out to you. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. Shout out.
So we're gonna end the show on that note, man. Thank y'all for tuning in for an episode of Trey Ball. You got any more closing words for this, George, or is that it?
Nah, that's 6. That's it. I'm done. And Trae Young 6. Have a great day, y'all.
Hey, peace out, y'all. Y'all take care.